Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Mr. Douglass Sports Show. I am your host, as always, Corey Douglas. All right, so it's Dak deadline day here in Dallas. Here in about 3.5 hours, we'll know for sure whether or not Dak's going to play on the tag or him and the Cowboys can come to some sort of agreement on a long-term extension. I am of the belief that a deal will not be reached. He will play on the franchise tag that will pay him about $31.4 million. This is for a guy that's only made about $4 million in his career. So obviously it's a big step up for Dak. But we'll come back to that in just a second. This is also, I think we're getting close to the return of sports. We got baseball on the docket for next week, next Thursday, opening up with 2 games. And then the rest of the teams will open up next Friday. And then the NBA down in Orlando, they'll get started in about 2 weeks on July 30th. They'll begin scrimmages here in the next few days or so. So it's real exciting for that. And I want to start today's episode on the NBA and kind of the steps they're taking off the basketball court. Obviously, you know, the entertainment is going to be nice whenever we get that back. But I think, obviously, in the time that we're in, it's still almost surreal that sports is actually coming back between having the pandemic and then having, you know, social unrest. I want to take a time out to salute the NBA with the way they've handled it. Obviously, they're letting the players wear, you know, up to one of 28 messages that they're offering to players to wear on the back of their jerseys. All the Mavs will wear equality in their native language on the back of their jerseys. So I think that's pretty cool. Not of those options were last names of victims of police brutality. I know some players have spoken out about how they're just going to wear their name on their back of their jerseys because they're not able to, you know, honor, you know, Trayvon Martin, you know, Michael Brown, and, you know, some of the countless other Black people that have been done in by the police brutality. LeBron and Anthony Davis actually said they are not going to wear one of the 28 messages on the back of their jerseys because LeBron said that it doesn't necessarily fit his mission. And, you know, I can't really be mad at that because I think of all the things the NBA is doing, as far as having the coaches speak out and dedicate each day they speak to the media about educating everybody out there on why, you know, why the protests happen, why all these conversations are happening, and then why it's important for everybody to speak out right now about this and continue to speak out to make sure that we have real change. As far as like just the bubble environment in general, obviously 2 players have already broken the rules. There's a snitch hotline that's out there. Apparently that's been buzzing. Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat, he got complaints for dribbling the basketball when they first got there and had to quarantine for 48 hours. So I think that's going to be interesting. And I think the NBA can pull it off as far as finishing out their season and awarding a champion. If they can just get past the 8 seeding games. The seeding games, like I said, will begin on July 30th. And we'll kind of go from there. So now I just want to transition to the NFL. Like I said, I have 5 players that are under the most pressure for the Cowboys entering the 2020 season. If there is one, 5 on that list is Blake Jarwin, who's going to be the starting tight end for the Dallas Cowboys in 2020. And I think the pressure for Blake Jarwin comes along the fact that not so much that he's replacing Jason Witten, who's known as the GOAT for tight ends. I think the last couple of years that he's actually played, he hasn't been the same Jason Witten that he was in the prime of his career, so a replacement is much needed. So I think the pressure for Blake Jarwin comes from just the fans' expectations that they have for him because they've almost anointed him as if he's, you know, a Travis Kelce type or he's Zach Ertz or Gronk, you know, almost. So I think the pressure is going to be mounting for him heading into the 2020 season. Obviously, he got signed to a 4-year contract extension this offseason, so the team believes in him. But the pressure's on. He's going to have to perform over a long stretch of time instead of just in spurts like he has when given the opportunity to this point in his career. Number 4, Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback. And the pressure's on him because he didn't have a good 2019 season. He's entering the last year of his rookie deal. And he is expected to go through a position change, moving from cornerback to safety. So there's a lot riding on him. And from a fan's perspective, I think the fans are going to look at him this year as they looked at Jeff Heath when he was here. And what I mean by that is people were on Jeff Heath consistently. Jeff Heath, if he caught an interception, it didn't matter because, let's talk about the angle he took 3 plays ago where it allowed the running back to run right by him or he didn't make the play. So I think Cheeto is going to be kind of that punching bag for the 2020 Dallas Cowboys defense. All right, number 3 on the Dallas Cowboys with the most pressure under them in 2020 is Jaylon Smith. Now, Jaylon Smith, he signed a contract extension last offseason. That's the contract that nobody thought he would sign after the catastrophic injury he had to his leg, playing his last game in college in the bowl game against Ohio State. And he's under pressure because, everybody knows, the smile and clear-eye view, and, he's selling sunglasses, and then you go on the field and you're not producing, and then you're celebrating when you're down 3 touchdowns. So I think this is an important season for Jaylon Smith if he wants to continue his career as a Dallas Cowboy. Number 2, Amari Cooper. Now, I think I might be of the minority here, but I believe that when the Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper was put on the clock. And the reason I say that is because Amari Cooper signed his extension, 5 years, $100 million. However, if you really look at the numbers, he's only getting 2 years, $40 million guaranteed. What that means is if CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup continue the trajectory that they're on, I think Amari Cooper could be gone based off the way he finished the 2019 season, not playing on 4th and 8 against the Eagles with the season on the line. I think there's a lot of pressure coming in. And, like I said, I might be in the minority here, but I'm expecting a lot from Amari Cooper, and he's going to have to show up and show out in order to keep that number 1 spot. And they didn't give CeeDee Lamb the number 88 for no reason. Believe that. All right, so I mentioned it's deadline day here in Dallas. We're about 3 hours away from the decision on whether he's going to play on the tag or if him and the Cowboys can agree to a long-term extension. So Dak Prescott is my number 1 Cowboy under the most pressure entering the 2020 season. And where the pressure comes from for me is after the 2019 season, the Cowboys made it very clear it wasn't on the players. It wasn't the players' fault as to why they went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. It was strictly on the coaches. They got rid of the coaches. They got rid of Jason Garrett. So Dak Prescott's under pressure this year. There's no more coaches to blame. There's the talent. You can't blame the talent. There's talent around him. You have probably, if not the best receiving core in the league. It's top 3 with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. Dak Prescott's going to have to perform. And Ian Rappaport came out this morning and said that the guarantees for the deal that's on the table for Dak is less than what Ryan Tannehill is making. What does that tell you? That tells you the Cowboys aren't fully sold on Dak Prescott. They can make it about the 4 or 5 year thing. I'm not buying that. That's the main holdup. I'm not buying it. That is not enough of an argument to not overcome for 2 years now. So Dak Prescott, believe it or not, he's under pressure in 2020. All right. So something else that came out, and it's been on my timeline the last couple of days, is the Madden rankings. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the rankings right now, and we'll go ahead and dissect them. So basically, based off Madden's rankings, the top 6 running backs in the league are Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Zeke, Saquon, Dalvin Cook. And with those rankings came a lot of disrespect for the running back here in Dallas, Ezekiel Elliott. There's some they're completely sleep on him. Some are saying that he's not even a top 10 running back. So I got to go ahead and address that. And I'm going to go ahead and put out my top 5 running backs in the league right now. There's a lot of good backs out there. I can't even lie on that. So I want to start with number 1. I'm going to do this in order of the running backs that I feel are the best. So number 1, I'm going to start with Christian McCaffrey. This dude was insane last year. So anybody trying to knock Christian McCaffrey, Yeah, you can't. Number 2, I have Ezekiel Elliott. You know, you can talk about the lack of burst or the lack of explosiveness, but Zeke at what he does, which is everything on the field, you know, he might not be the most explosive. You know, he's not going to break off 70 yards like he was his rookie year as much anymore. But when you talk about blocking, just finishing runs, durability, when all that, Zeke is a complete package. So I think he's number 2 in the league as far as running backs entering the 2020 season. Number 3, and this is where it gets real juicy, because you can make arguments for Dalvin Cook in this spot. You can make arguments for Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, but I'm sticking with the NFC East here. I'm going with Saquon Barkley as the 3rd best running back in the league. When you talk about pass catching ability, explosiveness, and just overall build as a running back, Saquon is definitely top 3. Number 4, Derrick Henry, coming off the finish that he had to the 2019 season. He's incredible. Tennessee should pay him, by the way. These running backs are being slept on out here, and that 2021 free agency class for running backs is going to be real interesting. There's a slew of names there, and I don't know who's all going to get paid or not, man. The NFL teams really ain't paying running backs. They're not trying to hear that right now. Number 5, my 5th best running back is Alvin Kamara. Obviously, he had a down year in 2019. He's battling all sorts of injuries, but I think when healthy, playing in that Sean Payton system, he's the 5th best running back in the league. That's going to complete episode 12 of the Mr. Douglass Sports Show. Until next time, you know what it is. Salute.